Alright everyone, and good morning. Welcome into this quick live stream edition of One Nation Weather. Even if you're watching this later today, this is just the information that I would be putting in a video if I were making one this morning. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and head on over, slide our way on over now to the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for today. This is going to be a quick, 10, 12 minute update for us here on that video that I made yesterday. Thanks so much for the support on that video, by the way. But let's go ahead and kind of get into the details here on the severe weather risk for today. We've got a slight to enhanced severe weather threat over parts of the Mid-South today. So we're monitoring parts of southeast Texas, parts of Louisiana, parts of Mississippi, and then on over into Alabama and the western panhandle of Florida for that severe weather today. Okay, so I want you, if you're in New Orleans, if you're in Biloxi, Gulfport, Mississippi, Mobile, Alabama, on over there into that far western panhandle of Florida, I want you to be especially prepared. But if you're in any color beyond that dark green or in the dark green on this map, you need to be ready for this, okay? Tornado threat is elevated. We've got the hatched 10% tornado risk zone right here. We're looking at the potential for EF2 tornadoes in that area I just circled right there. Not to say they couldn't happen down here in southern Texas, even near Houston, but overall the best chance looks like it's going to be in that hatched zone. We could also see wind gusts in excess of 60. Even 70 miles per hour as this pushes on through. And the hail threat is also a little bit elevated. We'll see the potential for some dangerous flooding today, okay? We're monitoring this whole zone for flooding, but especially in those same zones, you could have a tornado and extremely heavy rainfall induced flooding in some of the same areas at the same time down here over parts of Louisiana, over parts of Mississippi, over parts of southern Alabama. So this is why I want you to be especially prepared for what is on the way, because today is going to be a multi-hazard day, and especially along that Gulf Coast through parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida. Okay, let's take a look at that storm energy and how it's going to slide on through the region. Look at this. Notice that band of storm energy. This is that area right in here where I would be monitoring the threat for energy to continue progressing its way on off towards the east. So this is going to be a nocturnal threat, okay? We might have a few tornadoes out ahead of this area of energy, but overall it's looking like right now the most energy that we're going to get is going to happen as we go into the evening, 10, 11 p.m. Central Time here in New Orleans. And that is going to continue midnight into parts of Mississippi, parts of Alabama. That's when the most energy is available. You could have tornadoes around, and before that, this is just saying when the most energy is available. I'll show you the future radar in just a second. Notice how that continues east tomorrow. We'll see a tornado threat initially in the day down here tomorrow, and then we'll see another one up here into parts of the Carolinas as that Atlantic fetch pulls some moisture up into that region. So let's go ahead and kind of go on over now and kind of play through our composite reflectivity, which is just our future radar, and we're going to back this up, of course, and make our way back on off towards the start so we can kind of see what's going to happen through the day today. This is going to show us right now kind of what our severe weather looks like for today. So again, as we go, this is lunchtime today, okay? I really want everybody to be at least monitoring these cells over parts of southeast Louisiana, parts of southern Mississippi, okay? I wouldn't rule out the potential for a brief embedded spin up in those, but I do think the most energy at this point is still back here in the parts of Texas. We'll see if we can get a quick supercell or two to cause some problems out ahead of that main line there. I'm in the parts of Tyler, Texas, all the way on down to Lufkin, Nacogdoches there, down to Houston, okay? So keep those areas in mind for that potential there. These storms continue moving east, and again, it's what's ahead of the line that I think is concerning here. So we've got this linear segment again. This is where we could see the severe weather and the damaging winds line up, and then, of course, ahead of it, we're still watching that potential for embedded spin-ups out here. Okay, I cannot exactly specify where these spin-ups could be at this point because it is looking like there's going to be a wide mass of cells. But if I had to guess, the best chance for supercells at 4 p.m. this afternoon isn't going to be in here because if this is right ahead of that line, there's the most southerly fetch. Places like New Orleans still on the rain. But look, again, remember I mentioned 10, 11 p.m. As these storms slide eastward again, I covered this in my video yesterday as well, and not much has changed. We still got these cells pushing northward. Some of these move through New Orleans into the early to mid-evening hours, and then that line heads into New Orleans, say, around 11, 12, okay? And notice how as that does so, there are still these cells out ahead of the line that need monitoring. The line moves through New Orleans, say, 1, 2 a.m. Central Time in the morning here. But again, here's what I want you to see. Look at the cells out ahead of the line. Notice some of those move through 6, 7, 8 o'clock this evening. I think I would be raising my awareness once we get into the afternoon today and just be ready monitoring that radar. Okay? And then as we head through the rest of the overnight hours, we continue to see those isolated cells embed themselves along and just ahead of that line. And then this turns into a little bit more of a damaging wind event through the south tomorrow. You can clearly see that line that's going to be producing those damaging winds, pretty much this whole region. And for a damaging wind event, maybe some 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts. And then tomorrow, a second hand tornado threat will develop as these cells push on shore into parts of South Carolina and the North Carolina coastlines there. Okay, so keep those areas in mind. Again, this is like a video. We're just kind of running through the information as I would. So just watch those storms carefully, okay? I want you to monitor the potential for a nocturnal tornado threat pretty much all the way through this region right here, as the daytime tornado threats are really only confined back here into that region I'm kind of outlining right now. Okay, now let's go down over to the snowy side as well. I just wanted to touch on that part of the system really quickly in this video-like live stream. I think the heaviest snow is going to really get pumped out here over parts of southeastern Wisconsin and the Milwaukee region. Let's get right into that future radar right here. Again, as we go through the rest of today, I think we'll see some snow make its way. This is potentially a blizzard back here over the high plains, but the heaviest snow is going to break out here over parts of Nebraska, northern Missouri, southern Iowa as well at this point, okay? And then as we go beyond that point, look at how everything's going to kind of shade on off towards the north and east. And yes, this could start off as a snow event in a place like Chicago. Notice that, some heavy snow, even from Springfield, Illinois northward, northern Missouri, parts of Iowa, Nebraska, northern Kansas, all these areas getting in on some very heavy snowfall into the night tonight. A lot of this wind-driven, blowing snowfall. And then as this continues making its way on off towards the northeast, Chicago, just some really heavy snow tonight. But unfortunately, what accumulates won't stick on the ground long, because look at this sleet line. That's going to push into Chicago tomorrow morning. That's also going to push any snow that's in Indiana, Ohio out of here. But I do think parts of Wisconsin and Michigan are going to have a big gangbuster accumulation potential, as well as in Iowa. That pushes north. So really, if you're looking for uninterrupted snow, you're kind of consulting these areas right here. But at least some mostly uninterrupted snow as far south as some of these zones. But again, some sleet and the warm along the warm front, that's going to kind of push this out of here. And then in the northeast, we've got that snow turns over to heavy rain. This is a big wind maker, though, everyone. And just to show you how big of a wind maker this is, let's go on over to those 10-meter wind gusts. That's going to be the final thing we look at here in this quick little update. Let's kind of take a look at what we've got on those wind gust product. It's just loading on up for me because, I have to load everything up individually since this is technically a live update. But again, if you're watching this later, this is as if it is a video. Again, here we go this afternoon. Strong wind gusts, maybe 30 to 50 miles per hour over this region. We've got wind gusts blowing real hard over parts of southeast Colorado, western Kansas, the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma, as well as northeastern New Mexico. And then as we make our way beyond that point, look at anything in the oranges and reds is really strong wind gusts. So tonight, winds will be blowing quite strong over parts of Nashville and northern Alabama, still blowing hard over parts of the plains. And, up there in Chicago, while some of the snow is ongoing tonight, maybe 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, maybe brief blizzard conditions even there. Notice some of those reds moving through that region. We kind of lose interest in these winds, even though they're still strong beyond this point, because of the winds that are going to push up the east coast. And monitor this as we go tomorrow afternoon. Look at these wind gusts that are going to make their way up the east coast. I think we'll see some scattered 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts along this immediate northeast and southern New England shoreline there. So please be weather aware. Of course, I'll continue to keep you updated throughout the day. Turn on those notifications, okay? I'll be back mid to late afternoon today, hopefully with some more information, whether it's through video or stream, not sure right now. But again, turn on those notifications so you catch all the latest information. And of course, you can't turn on notifications unless you subscribe. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. But look at this. This is our hazards map. Winter alerts up here. And a lot of those kind of encompass the winds as well. But look, this entire area, even if you're not in any sort of other alert, all those brown alerts down here over the entire southern corridor of the U.S., those are wind advisories, okay? So the winds are going to be extremely high. In greens, we've also got these flood watches up into parts of Appalachia, down here over New Orleans and southern Mississippi as well. So that concludes this little update for you here. I hope it was good. And that's it for this update. Again, thank you so much for watching. The only place that's not really in these alerts is where that low is kind of going to track. And you get spared just a little bit more. But again, watch for the winds down here, severe weather down here, and then the winter weather potential up here as we go through the rest. Really, this whole zone of the system is what we're watching today. Okay, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll be back hopefully later today with more updates. Turn on those notifications.